What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Opinion. My name is Jason, and let's get right into it. So, a couple of days ago, I ran into an article that is highly politicized, and normally I don't partake in any political jargon, but this piqued my interest. And it also kind of scared the shit out of me. And here's why. So, this is an article from the Los Angeles Times, and the title of the article: Trump won't commit to accepting result if he loses election. Yeah. Now you know why this article kind of unnerved me a little bit. So, to get into the details, Trump refused again to promise he would accept the results of November's presidential election and brushed aside public opinion polls that showed his standing with voters plummeting over his handling of the worsening coronavirus outbreak. Yeah. And if you followed any of the, if you followed any news revolving around the pandemic and how Trump has established any sort of countermeasure in order to combat the pandemic, you know, and it's a fair statement to admit that he has done well below well below subpar job. And when it comes to leadership, there was essentially no leadership because he has revoked any sort of countermeasure in terms of public safety, scientific funding to the CDC. He has actually cut funding from the CDC, and he has essentially denounced and or what's a good word for it? Refused, I guess, to actually heed to any of the CDC's guidelines, and also to his infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci. So, yeah, I'm surprised he's lived this long, honestly. Not only from his diet, from his lack of a diet, or poor diet, and also his lack of exercise, or whatever you want to call him, playing tennis or golf or walking down a ramp really slowly so that way he doesn't fall and bust his ass, to his health, to following any health guidelines in general. Anyway, in an interview aired Sunday on Fox News, the president also boasted inaccurately that the United States had the best coronavirus mortality rate, asserted that the economy was rapidly bouncing back, and denigrated the government's top infectious disease specialist, Dr. Anthony Fauci, as the president's surrogates have done in recent days. What perplexes me and what also bothers me is he uses the word best. That's the adjective he chose to remark on the mortality rate of the virus that has not only ravaged the United States, but has ravaged the entire globe. What makes him think that it's a competition in terms of the mortality rate? There is Like, no, I don't. Sorry, I was just silencing my phone so I have no interruptions. What makes him think that it's appropriate, that it's a competition, that any nation would choose that adjective in order to describe the mortality rate of anything? If anything, he should be sympathizing and empathizing with those who have been inflicted and forever damaged by loved ones who have contracted and inevitably and unfortunately perished from the virus. There is absolutely no need to make this a fucking competition. Everything in his life is a competition, and he's failed at every competition that he's had. Unfortunately, he has not failed at the presidency. However, his popularity has drastically declined. And as he did in 2016, Trump declined to guarantee that he would accept the election outcome, saying it was too soon. Classic sign of a sore loser. Narcissistic, egotistic, petulant, ill-tempered, and also a sore loser. I mean, it's Trump. What more, like, do you expect any less from this guy? At this point, I'm just so desensitized that I'm like, oh, that's just Trump acting like Trump again. What else is new? I have to see, he told interviewer Chris Wallace. I am not going to just say yes, I'm not going to say no, and I didn't last time either. Repeating a contention he has often made in recent weeks, the president said he believed that mail-in voting would rig the election. Critics have said Trump is trying to delegitimize the vote in advance, fearing a loss, especially if the pandemic means that balloting by mail is more widely used than usual. Another sign of a sore loser, fearing a loss. Really? You're gonna stoop down to that low of an echelon? But then again, it's Trump, so having him express such petulant behavior, it's nothing new. It's just Trump acting like Trump. He's what, in his late 70s? He's senile. He's a geriatric. He will never change his ways. That's just him. And yeah, that's just him. He's never gonna change, and I don't expect him to change, since he had that mentality ever since he was what, maybe 2 years old. So I don't expect him to change, and that's just the way he is. And if he's gonna continue to be petulant, egotistical, narcissistic, a sore loser, that's on him. That's just the character he chooses to exude and present as himself. Honestly, he doesn't have that much. Honestly, he doesn't have that much longer of a lifespan. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let him just do it. Let him live out his let him live out his childish lifestyle and his childish temperament. He's not gonna live that much longer anyway. I as long as he acts this way when he gets kicked out of office, I don't give a fuck how he acts at that point when he becomes a regular citizen. I honestly don't give a fuck anymore at that point. Trump's presumptive opponent, Joe Biden, often shrugs off the president's broadsides, but Biden aides offered an acerbic, I want to know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, acerbic response to Trump's suggestion he might not leave office willingly if voters reject him. The American people will decide this election, the Biden campaign said in a statement. And the US government is perfectly capable of escorting trespassers out of the White House. I actually admire Biden being so bold with that statement. Escorting, no, actually, no. The US government is perfectly capable of escorting trespassers out of the White House. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm actually hoping, praying that not only that Trump loses the election by a gargantuan amount, but also I'm actually really hoping that Trump he does not voluntarily leave the White House, because if he is coerced, if he is forced out of the White House by his hands and knees, if he is dragged out by his hands and knees and he's making a shit show of a spectacle, it will be fucking hilarious to see a grown ass man child being dragged by his hands and feet from the White House. A former commander-in-chief being dragged out of the White House. It will be a fucking spectacle, and it's gonna be hilarious. Donald, if you ever come across this video and if you're watching, please do not voluntarily escort yourself from the White House. Please be as petulant and egotistical, narcissistic, as childish as possible. Please, I beg you. Please. Scream, shout, curse, scream whatever blasphemies you can while you're being dragged out of the White House. I don't care if you have to claw your way out. I don't care if your long ass, unkempt fingernails and whatever else, and your wrinkly hands claw against the rugs of the White House and leave claw marks. Please do it. It'll be hysterical to see you, a grown ass man in his late 70s, a grown ass man child, having to be dragged out of the White House. Please, just do it. It'll be hilarious. And that will probably be your landmark trademark exit, or your trademark, I guess, representation. Please do it. It'll be hilarious if you do that. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. On a serious note, Trump brushed aside the many national polls that show a big lead for Biden. A Washington Post ABC News poll released Sunday indicates the former vice president has a double-digit advantage over Trump, leading 55 to 40% among registered voters. Wallace told Trump during the pre-taped interview that a new Fox poll also gave Biden the edge, showing a somewhat tighter but still significant 49 to 41% lead. Polls of major battleground states have shown a similar picture, with Biden leading in states including Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Florida, and Arizona. I am not losing because those polls are fake, Trump declared, referring to the Washington Post and Fox surveys. At another point, he said, "I'm not a good loser. I don't like to lose." Yeah, so like I said, folks, sore fucking loser. But Donald, on a more serious note, life is all about accepting wins and losses. I know that you've had a lot of business failures, from your water, your airline, your steak, your cologne, your alcohol, your casinos. And that should be an indicator that, yes, like I said, life is full of losses and failures. However, it should also be filled with triumphant victories. And no, don't count your presidency, because your presidency has been a shit show. Let's be honest. Your presidency has been a shit show. Everything from the racism that has been involved, that you denouncing both the left and the right for the peaceful protesters, and also for the violence, and also for the violent protesters, since they wanted to stake their name, and also for not denouncing law enforcement when certain law enforcement officials have unrighteously taken the lives of so many African Americans. And people are gonna say, oh, but police, they take the lives of white people too. But that's not the main point. The main point is, well, the main point of the statement is Trump denouncing both sides of the argument, saying that cops, they should be more brutal, when in reality cops, they should be more amicable and cordial with the community and the public, regardless of the race or nationality of someone. And also, in particular, well, two instances in particular, when he degraded a reporter during that time, I'm using past tense, who mimicked a reporter who has an ailment and who can't control his actions. And I will pull up that article. Trump mimics disabled reporter? Let's see if it pops up. Oh, okay, yeah. And for those who are unaware of this incident, this is from NBC News. And the title is Donald Trump's Worst Offense, Mocking Disabled Reporter, Poll Finds. And this was back in 2016, August 10th, 2016 at 7:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's been updated August 11th, 2016 at 3:24 a.m. Essentially what he did is, let's see. Okay, so when asked in a recent Bloomberg poll what bothered them most about Donald Trump, with a slew of controversies, likely voters picked one action above all others: when the candidate mocked a reporter with a disability last November. Democrats have made sure the public has seen and heard about Trump's extended riff over and over again. It has been played in ads created by the Clinton campaign, including a highly circulated one involving children silently watching, and by groups working on Clinton's behalf. Bill Clinton even said in his convention speech that his wife never made fun of people with disabilities. She tried to empower them based on their ability. And then going on, it said, Trump has denied that he meant to mock the reporter. Serge Kovaleski. Oh, okay. Oh, so this is the name of the reporter. Trump has denied that he meant to mock the reporter, Serge Kovaleski, who has arthrogryopsis, a congenital condition affecting the joints. Yeah, so that's essentially the article. And I will link the article down in the description below because there's a video attached to the article, and it blatantly shows that he is mocking the reporter mentioned. So yeah, good job, Donald. Good job for mocking the disabled community. Anyway, yeah. So just going back to the LA Times article. Yeah. So Donald, life is filled with victories and failures, and just by analyzing your water, steak, cologne, airport, vodka, or alcohol, whatever the fuck it was. What else? And your casinos. 6 business failures. That should have indicated that you suck as a businessman and or as an entrepreneur. I mean, I applaud you for trying and trying again, but what, after the 3rd business failure, if you can't get a business off the ground after the 3rd try, cut that shit loose. Just shoot the cow behind the barn between the eyes and just get it over with. Stop torturing yourself, seriously. No wonder your hair keeps on falling out. And I don't know what you call that on the top of your head, but it's not hair. Anyway, amid the surging coronavirus outbreak, which has claimed more than 140,000 American lives, with the rate of new cases at one point last week reaching 75,000 in a single day, and I blame Florida, Trump hailed his own performance, claiming that the US has the best mortality rate. Like I said before, that is nothing to be proud of. The mortality rate, especially from a global pandemic, is not a fucking joke to make. It is not something to laud. It is something to mourn and expect the process of finding a vaccine or creating a vaccine so that way we can get back to our normal lives. Anyway. Total US confirmed COVID-19 deaths are the highest recorded for any country in the world, and the US has the 7th highest mortality rate for the size of its population, according to Johns Hopkins University figures. Asked about his repeated downplaying of the pandemic, including his prediction that the coronavirus would one day just disappear, like poof, like magic. It's gone. Trump refused to back down on his forecast. I'll be right eventually. You know I said it's going to disappear. I'll say it again, it's going to disappear, and I'll be right. This is not powdered milk. It doesn't just disappear and just vanish. Oh, where did it go? Is it here? Is it there? Is it here? Is it there? Is it here? Is it there? That's not how a pandemic works. Not even by a long shot. Give me a fucking break. Asked if he was being proved wrong in real time, with the case count increasing in 35 states, Trump replied, "I don't think so." Anyway, that's just the gist of it. So, yeah. If this was a grading system, Trump would get quadruple F minuses, because This is a fucking joke at this point. Not only has the US suffered seventh in the seventh as the seventh most catastrophic country to be stricken with the coronavirus, but also he has done very little, if not anything, to alleviate the pandemic. And people are gonna say in the comments below, oh, but he provided relief for the CARES Act. He sent $1,200 stimulus checks. What about that? What about the $600 upcoming unemployment benefits? Yeah, that's just cash. That is that is temporary mitigation to temporarily alleviate the global pandemic. What about backing up Dr. Anthony Fauci? What about backing up the CDC and allocating more money from wherever the fuck they're printing money from at such an accelerated rate, and allocating it wherever they were initially funneling the money into, towards scientific research, towards expediting the process, and to actually increase the amount of research and development towards a vaccine for the coronavirus. What about that? What about to stop pressuring schools to open up so easily? And yes, I understand that schools that they need to reopen soon, but you don't have to jam that shit down the public system's throats. You don't have to just fist their throats and you have to go back to school. Yes, I understand that children, that they need an education, that they need the social interactions. However, if you're trying to rush the process, it's only going to get worse. But there have to be countermeasures established, as always. Social distancing, practicing hygiene to the maximum capacity, and also wearing masks. Please, for the love of God, wear masks. Jesus. And I talked about wearing masks in another video. But yeah. Yeah. His entire first and last term as president has been a total shit show. But anyway, that's just my opinion. And that's all for today. So, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Smash that notification button. Well, okay, so click the thumbs up button. Hit that subscribe button and also ring that notification bell so you know exactly when I upload another video. And also let me know in the comments below. Are you afraid, or what do you think will happen when Trump loses the election? And will he be forced out of the White House, or do you think he will leave voluntarily? Also, let me know which one would you rather see? Would you rather see him being dragged out of the White House, or voluntarily leaving? And let me know in the comments below. And like I said, I will link both of the articles in the description below. And that's all, folks. Peace!